A judge orders a Rhode Island grower to halt marijuana sales amid allegations. Man. A major marijuana grower in Rhode Island has been ordered to stop selling products while regulators consider alleged violations by the company. Superior Court Judge Brian Stern rejected a request last week for injunctive relief by STJ, better known as Fire Ganja. STJ filed a motion seeking monetary relief and requesting that the court revoke and dissolve an administrative hold and quarantine of marijuana plants issued by the state, according to the court records obtained by the Providence Business News. The company could lose its license over allegations that it failed to disclose an owner and produce significant amounts of unregistered cannabis, both violations of state law. Which Warwick-based Fire Ganja is scheduled to discuss the matter at a regulatory hearing on November 30th, the Business News reported. And inspectors flagged the business on August 16th after discovering 1,473 cannabis plants and 1,507 ounces of flour, as well as other products that weren't entered into the state's track and trace system. Regulators also learned about a federal lawsuit pertaining to an ownership dispute between Fire Ganja and a separate company, San Miguel. STJ and the Rhode Island Department of Business Regulations declined Business News' request for comment, and the developments came amid growing complaints from Rhode Island growers about a product oversupply triggered in part by a limited number of retailers. The state, which began adult use sales last December, has about 60 licensed cultivators, but only 7 stores to sell their product. Man, oh man, oh man, this sounds pretty bad for this guy. I at first I'm like, it just based off allegations, but it sounds like they have some significant proof to do this in regards with the ounces. Why would they have it packaged in ounces? I'm so confused. They should have that packaged in pounds or kilos or something. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
1,000 plant grow. I'm not a cultivator, but that seems like a lot to me. Like monoculture, problematic.
Well, I mean, at the same time, too, Dr. T, the one thing about having so many plants is what you always have to keep in mind is I know the number sounds big, but at the same time, they define a plant as anything with roots. So it is possible that they could have had a whole bunch of smaller plants that they were going to grow up to be larger plants that they were going to, cut through and, only pick the ripest ones.
They define plants the way the Republicans define life, okay? It doesn't even need to have roots. The moment it's a cutting, it deserves to be alive.
No. Once it has roots is the definition.
So, I mean, look, 1,000 plants could literally be 10 little trays of baby clones, right?
That's what I'm saying. With roots, though.
Well, I mean, again, back to the Republican definition of life. I mean, the moment that thing is put in rock wool, it's sacred and deserves to be protected. So
once there's a heartbeat.
The challenge that I have is separate from the proof they may have in this civil process. It is the kiss of death to stop a cultivation operation while these things work their way through that process, that fact finding, those consequences either for the individuals or for the entity. And so I'm worried, like my heart goes out to the investors in, what was it, STD? I mean, STJ, I mean, ST something, right? And why would you stop a business because maybe a few people had made some bad judgment calls? That business, to me, deserves to continue to be as successful as it possibly can while it goes through that process. The other thing also is, let's not forget that some of these track and trace systems are really complicated to navigate, and that a lot of times entities, the first place they skimp, the first 2 places they skimp is in good legal and in good compliance, either professionals or contract positions. And so I think about that. And then what really comes out for me, the saddest part of this is what you said about the lack of retail. And again, back to my thing about the replicatable mistakes that don't have to be replicated. If you have 6 or 7 retail locations in a state or even in a sub-market, you fucked up. You fucked up. your entire program is fucked up if you only have 6 or 7 retail locations, but you have 60 cultivation businesses. And so that in and of itself, to me, is more troubling than the potential bad actions of one actor.
I mean, they have a gross oversupply. Any thoughts on this, Dr. T?
Oh, well, like I said, Nick Bradley noted that 1,000 flowering plants is about half a football field. I see mold and pesticide and pests problems with that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So we can never go back to describing grows by stem count, and should always be describing grows by square footage.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. Totally with you on that. Yes, it should all be defined by square footage and not antiquated plant counts. Yeah.
And we see those replicatable mistakes in newer markets like Missouri, which just came up with a micro license that limits some of those permit holders to 250 stems, which means that the smart ones will configure their cultivation according to the older methods of like California operators who really had to worry about stem count. But really anything defined by stems instead of square footage, it's not new thinking.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Let's see. Just so everyone knows, Gretchen did have a headline. I'm not sure where she's at. She must have got stuck on the hill somewhere, but she had a story that said GOP sponsor a marijuana banking bill to file new measure blocking the FDA from legalizing cannabis. So if you want to check that story out, head on over to our website, www.highat9news.com, and you can read it and check it out over there. And I think we're going to wrap this up for the weekend. I want to thank you guys all for coming in today very much. Great dialogue, great information today. 2 doctors on the stage today. Man, oh man, we are really lucky over here.